And welcome back to Little Cuts, the final Little Cuts of the year. It's our weekly mini-sode where we dig into the things that we've been watching recently, I believe. I'm Terry.
And I'm Mary Beth, and buckle up because this week we are talking a sad true story, girl gangs, kids are fucked up, a
Hmm.
twist on the horror western, a cute animated movie, a gnarly revenge thriller, and a new era for Chucky.
We got a
I
lot.
I know I don't know about you, but I have been watching I'm trying to catch up because we're doing end of year lists and recordings, and I have been trying to cram in as many movies as possible before like this week.
Yeah, I had all the intents of doing that, and then I didn't.
I love that. I love that though.
It's
No, I respect
it's
it.
been a weekend. As the
Yeah.
holiday weekend, things just I don't know. I was not feeling great most of the weekend. I'm still not feeling the best, and so I just have not really had any energy. So, off the top, I do apologize, patrons, because I did not get into my backlog this week, but that means that next week I will be watching Threads.
Wait. I should watch it with you because my brother got me Threads for Christmas. He got me the
Oh, shit.
Blu-ray. I didn't even ask for it, but he was like, "So I've heard like this movie is really fucked up, and so I thought I should get it for you." And I was like, "I've never been more proud to call you my brother. So
Seriously.
I'll watch it with you. We
Okay,
can,
awesome.
well,
There you
because
go, Tony. We're both watching it.
I figured if you're gonna have to suffer through it, I might as well too. It's a little coincidence. So
That is huge coincidence because I meant to watch it this weekend, and I just well, I mean, we'll see
did you
with
not
like
want to spend your holiday weekend watching Threads?
well, no,
Merry
but here's also the thing.
Christmas.
Like, I mean, this might be a good time to say, our Fresh Wounds episode for January is The Orphanage. So I watched that, cried. Watched this other movie that I'm going to talk about today, cried, and I was like, I don't know if I have it in me to watch Threads after these two movies. So I was like, I'm just going to put that on the back burner for another
You
week.
know, you're a better person than I, because I'd be like, all right, let's just keep on rolling. Let's just keep on rolling. So good for you for the self care. So then, okay, that's a good little transition into tell me about the sad true story.
So, it's really weird when you grow up. Well, I mean, I don't even know if I grew up, but like in my like maybe 20s, I would say, you're reading stuff by Michael Asiello on Entertainment Weekly, and he's like an entertainment journalist. And then you find out that he wrote a memoir called Spoiler Alert, and it's about his life with his boyfriend slash husband who ends up having cancer and dying.
Oh, this one. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, wasn't probably the best choice. Also, considering that I did lose a friend to cancer in October, so this one hit really close to home a little bit, and it made me bawl like a little baby. But this is Michael Showalter's new movie, based on the memoir by Michael Asiello, and starring Jim Parsons as Michael and Ben Aldridge, who is a cutie patootie, as Kit, his boyfriend slash husband slash doomed paramour. And I mean, it's kind of chronicles their relationship. I was a little dubious because when you are basing it off of a memoir, and the memoirist is a producer for the movie, I was wondering like how sugar coated the relationship would be
Okay.
because but I will say that it's not because their relationship was very complicated, and
Okay.
a lot of love but also a lot of anger between the two of them, and a lot of problems. So it's not like this sugar coated starry-eyed story that ends in tragedy. It is a more complicated tale of two people who love each other but
Oh.
also struggle to be with each other, and then on top of that having to deal with a cancer diagnosis, and the thought that Michael's parent, his mom, had passed away from cancer as well. So there's like a lot going on in this movie, and it's funny, it's sweet, but it's also incredibly sad, particularly as we get to the last, I would say, 40 minutes of the movie. It is very hard to watch. So, yeah, that was a choice that I made this weekend, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Where did you watch it? Is it streaming somewhere?
It's streaming now. They put it out on VOD
VOD,
to
okay.
rent or buy
Okay.
this last week, and I meant to.
Is it
I
a...
wanted to see it.
Oh, sorry. Is it a
I'd
Christmas
wanted to see it in the
movie?
theater. Sort of. I mean, it's
Why did
like,
I think it was a Christmas movie?
well, I mean, the poster has them underneath the Christmas tree, and
Oh, there it
like
is.
it
Okay.
does.
That makes me feel better. I was like, why the fuck did I think that was a Christmas movie?
I mean, it does sort of feature Christmas in it, and that's probably why they released it around this time. I think a lot of the marketing
Okay.
might have to do that, but yeah, it's about many years in their very tumultuous relationship, but it was good. It's if you like sad movies, you want to cry, this is one for you.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah. So that was my really sad true story. Spoiler alert.
Cool. So you watched that in the orphanage. You were really having a good time.
Really
You
having a
didn't
good
wanna, you didn't
time.
want to top that off with
You know, I was
Wow.
thinking, nah, probably not.
It's a good call. It's a good call.
But let's swing wildly from that, I'm assuming, and talk about girl gangs.
Girl gangs. Okay, so I finally watched Medusa that came
Okay.
out this year, directed by Anita de Rocha da Silveira. Pardon me. She's Brazilian director. This is a Brazilian horror film where a kind of like a super fundamentalist Christian cult basically rules the city or part of Brazil,
Okay.
and and there's like a whole vigilante girl group who see themselves as the puritanical kind of like enforcers of the rules of Christianity, and so they wear these masks and go out and jump women who they believe are sinners. And so this movie focuses on one of these members of this. The group is called Michelle and the Treasures, and they're like these like virginal white outfits, sing these kitschy like puritanical pop songs. Like it's this whole movie is very weird. Like I know that liminal is kind of like the word of the year, but it feels like that. It's got this like it feels kind of like near future-y, but also has that kind of weird retro vibe. It's very colorful, like very pink. It's very Knives and Skin.
Okay.
Got like kind of that aesthetic to it.
Hmm.
And it follows one of the members of the group who gets a scar on her face, and now that she is no longer like the image of perfection, she kind of starts realizing that the religion she's a part of is terrible. And it is very trippy and weird, and it's definitely another one of those like vibe heavy movies where you're like, I'm not like totally sure what's going on, but I like what I'm looking at, and it's really well shot and the performances are great, so
Okay.
I'm just along for the ride. It felt,
Yeah.
and so I say that, and it's so that it reminded me a lot of a giallo in that
Oh,
kind of
okay.
way, but also in the way it's shot in terms of the colors and the use of score. It has a very giallo vibe, so it's fucking wild. It's incredible. I couldn't really tell you how it ended, but I had a really good time watching it. And this is definitely one that I think kind of fell under the radar. It came out at TIFF in 2021, I believe. It came out wide this year, but I don't think many people watched it. And I think
Kay really likes this one. I
K,
think-
yes, that was one that K.
Yeah.
That's why I prioritized it, because I think it was K. One of, if not the top movie for Kay Lynch of Salem Horror Fest this year. I can see why she thought that. So I highly recommend it for anyone looking for a kind of weird girl power, girl gang, strange girls being violent for God kind of movie. Oh, it also involves a woman, an actress who went missing, who they think is in a coma in the basement of a hospital. And so it gets like Silent Hill-y because she's like
Oh.
trying to find a woman with a burned face
Oh,
who
yeah.
like kind of becomes like a projection of her own desires to burst out of like patriarchal norms. It's incredible. It's fucking incredible. It's so weird. You have to watch it. So that's Medusa.
Yeah, it's been on my list. I've been meaning to give that one a shot, particularly because I remember Kay really enjoying it, but I have not yet. So I'm glad to hear it's wild and good and weird.
Yeah, I decided to spend my my Christmas weekend. If you look at my letterbox, like the things I watched that like over the weekend, incredible. It was just like, why not? Let's just fucking go for it. But speaking of girl gangs, the kids are fucked up. This could be anything. I
Yeah. I know you've seen this one. This was my attempt to start catching up on movies that I had not seen this year. I watched The Innocents.
What did you think?
Eskil Vogt?
Eskil Vogt is what he told me.
Okay. You know, you think if you ever think you want to have kids, maybe don't. I think this should be like a required viewing for any parent or any person that wants to become a parent. That the kids aren't all right, y'all. This takes place in a bright Nordic summer where a group of children discover they have mysterious powers, and because children are shit, they start using it against each other. And I'm going to put this up front. Their animal death warning. There is a really gross death of a cat in this that made me almost want to turn off the movie.
Yeah,
I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
And that was before the superpowers started to like show up. This is just cruelty on a cruel level.
See, that's why I think this movie is such a standout, because it doesn't just it makes the kids cruel. Like this movie doesn't try to sanitize and be like, look, they're just kids. It's like, no, these kids can do some shit. And then it establishes that before they have the power. So it's like, oh no, these kids, no matter what was going to happen, they were always going to be like capable of doing some really horrific things to each other. And there's even the one girl who doesn't have powers who still puts glass in the shoes of her non-verbal sister. Like,
yeah,
it's brutal. It's such a brutal movie.
It's incredibly brutal.
It's so good, but it is 100% a movie that I'm like, I don't think I ever need to see it again. I will recommend it to people to see once, but I don't know if I could experience it again. So good for you, Vought, for making that happen, because Jesus Christ. Turns out watching little kids kill each other isn't fun.
No. And this is, of course, the writer of Thelma, which sort of explored similar, like, TK, supernatural type abilities, and also The Worst Person in the World, which I still have not seen, but I want to.
Like, this is my favorite thing about this director, is he has, like, this incredible ability to create characters, because Worst Person in the World is so different, like, very grounded, but, like, I sobbed like a fucking baby. Like, he's very good at writing characters and getting you invested in characters, and it's really impressive. And that has kind of let him write across genre and still make really good, consistently good stuff. It's really cool. So if you haven't, like, familiar with Eskil Vogt, The Innocents is on Shudder?
It's on Shudder. I watched it on Shudder.
Yeah, and then watch Worst Person in the World for a complete complete 180, and then get ready to cry for like 2.5 hours.
Sounds like a wonderful time.
No one else likes doing that?
I think I'm cried out over this weekend.
Note to self to talk to therapist about.
Hey, I'm not yucking anyone's yum. Some people really like sad things.
What can you do?
What can you do?
What can you do?
But yeah, so I did watch that to see if it would end up on my list. It's not going to, but it was a really good movie.
Yeah. We'll talk about this as nauseum later, but it is very hard to pick the best 10, like, favorite 10 movies of the year. That's all I'll say for now.
Right after this recording, we're gonna be doing that, and I'm not even sure I'm ready, but let's go.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, a twist on the horror western.
So I finally watched SALOUM, Senegalese horror action western that came out earlier this year. It was playing a festival circuit for a while, and then it hit Shudder, and it almost made my top 10. It is so good. Everything. So, okay, before I jump into why I liked it, this follows 3 legendary mercenaries who are extracting a Mexican drug lord out of Guinea-Bissau. And when their plane runs out of fuel, they have to take refuge in the region of Senegal called SALOUM. And they get there, the vibes are kind of weird, but they just, they're like, whatever's going on, we just need this like one place to stay until we can get some fuel to just get the fuck out of here. But the longer they stay, the more things kind of reveal themselves. And so the first half is kind of like, has that Western kind of a twist, like a Senegalese twist on the Western, and then it turns into more of a horror movie and a Western, like all tied together. And it's a really incredible mix of the two. And what is also so incredible about it is how stylized it is. So like the score is absolutely incredible. The performances, especially from the three men at the center, are incredible. The way that they are styled is just like, it's everything about it is just feels so much like a twist on what we think of as a Western movie, but put in a much more contemporary, non-white perspective. And it's just like the story, it's also just really sad. Like it ends up being a revenge thriller, and I won't spoil it, but it's like heavy. And it's talk about a movie if you want to watch and just be like, ugh, bleak, but it's still really well done. There's a lot of CGI at the end that isn't, it's a little like the budget shows a little bit with the CGI, but
it does.
You've seen it. You saw this a while ago, right? At a festival?
I saw this at a festival, and I can't remember which festival I saw it at, but yeah.
The CGI kind of isn't great at the end, but I'm willing to forgive that for, I think, everything else. I really, really, really like this movie.
Yeah, I need to give it another shot, because I watched it in the middle of watching a whole bunch of festival movies, and I think that was to its detriment, because it's not, I don't know, I don't think it was what I was expecting, and I think I was just maybe burnt out at that point. So I need to like go in with fresh eyes, because I remember loving the style, I remember loving the performances, not loving the CGI, but was forgiving it. But like, I need to revisit that one.
Yeah, I can see how it would kind of like, because it's slow. It's like a slow start, but I think it's a really interesting story. And I think it's just so different than like, it's like it takes what we're familiar with in terms of the Western and the revenge story, but puts it in a much like in a Senegalese context that I'm glad we're getting in the horror genre, and it's just so good, and the performances are incredible, and I just was so glad I checked it out. And I think more people need to check it out. Again, this is another movie that kind of flew under the radar when it came out, but it's on Shudder.
It's on Shudder, right? Yeah.
It is on Shudder. So, I mean, like, another really awesome example of, like, hey, once we give filmmakers from other parts of the world, like, access, you can see that horror filmmaking is really great fucking everywhere. So, I think this is a really great example of that. So,
and Shudder's done that a lot this year. In the last few years, but, like, this year a lot. There's a lot of foreign horror that I think would fly under the radar otherwise.
Yeah, and like I think this is no shade to Shudder. I think just because they have so many movies, it's hard for them to like push them all as so heavily. So it's like it's like a blessing and a curse. So they have so many cool originals coming out, but like that means you might not have the resources as much, you know. And I hope that doesn't go away with what happened with Shudder. Like that would be so disappointing because again, like that's how so many people see these movies from like just not on the U.S. So, well, I got sad for a second there, but watch Saloum on Shudder, please, and support Shudder. Probably a very big swing to a cute animated movie.
Yeah, so I needed something light and no frills after kind of the week that I had. So
that's fair.
I watched the new Disney cartoon Strange World that got released on to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
And it's cute. It's not the greatest. It's cute. It's about this family of explorers named the Clades, and it opens up in like the past where this father, he wants his son to be an explorer, and the son wants to be a farmer and thinks that like the future is in the place that they're living, whereas the father thinks that he needs to get past these mountains and see what's on the other side of their small mountain enclosed town, and that will be like his greatness. And his father ends up like leaving to go explore and leaves him behind because he wants to stay and be a farmer. And then it cuts to like years later where Searcher, the son, is now a father and has his own family. And they have this really cute three-legged dog that is adorable. And they have the son who, and this is why I wanted to bring it up, the son is queer. Not like we're going to wink and nudge it. The son has a crush on another boy and gets flustered and talks about him with his parents and eventually his grandfather when they all meet back up. And it is the most adorable thing to see. And it made my heart happy because this was like an actual queer character that was like treated as any other kind of character, little kid in love type kind of crush situation. And it was really adorable. The rest of the movie was pretty predictable. They end up having to leave because the power supply that they'd been using to power their place is dying. They run into the grandfather, hijinks ensue, end of the world type stuff. So it's like, it's very predictable in that regard. I'd say it pulls a lot from sort of the kind of pulp novels, I would say, like the adventure, the pulp, the sci-fi mixed with like the Indiana Jones type thing of like yesteryear, which was kind of cute to see in like a 2022 lens. And it's entertaining. It's not, I don't think this one's going to stick for me outside of the fact that it was really refreshing to see a queer character be a queer character and not a wink and a nudge. So, from a Disney cartoon. So yeah, that was Strange World.
Yeah, I've heard like it was cute kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That's kind of all that I've heard about it. Because Jabuki Young White the kid?
Yeah, he's Ethan the queer kid.
Oh, that's right. I love Jabuki. He's very funny. It looks pretty. Again, like you said with like the pulp novels, like the poster looks like that, and I like that. It's like that. It gives my eyes like it's like eye candy. It looks like
it's very colorful. Like that poster is indicative of the way the movie looks. It's very bright and colorful, and lots of different colors in it. Lots of pinks and purples, and just it's definitely giving me that kind of pulp novel nostalgia.
Cool.
It's just the story's really predictable.
All right.
So it's cute, entertaining, good animation.
Cool.
And yay for queer characters. Give us more.
Thanks, Disney.
Finally. After their Disney's first queer character ever that's been like going on for the last
for like 20 years. It's like, good lord.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hard Swing Again? A gnarly revenge thriller.
This is Bull. Starring have you heard of this one?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Neil Maskell stars in this. He played the lead guy in Kill List. You've seen Kill List. We watched Kill List.
Yeah, I have seen Kill List. Mm-hmm.
So he's the lead in Bull. Bull is a movie about a guy named Bull who after 10 years comes back for revenge on the mob who tried to kill him.
Okay.
And he's married to the head of the mob's wife. No, hold on. Back it up. It's a hard movie. It's a hard movie to explain because there's like so many weird family dynamics in this movie. But basically, this guy's a mob enforcer. He marries into the mob. He is married to the mob boss's daughter. They have a kid. She's addicted to drugs. He is like, "You are insane," and because he says that, like, whatever. And so this movie is about him coming. He's been gone mysteriously for 10 years, and he is back to kind of get revenge and get his son back. Okay. And what unfolds is this, like, fucking... It's, like, kind of, like, predictable slasher, like, revenge thriller with this guy is just, like, absolutely demolishing bodies, like, of people who wronged him. And it's told in this non-linear fashion of it's a lot of flashbacks between, like, him now and then him 10 years ago leading up to what, like, happened and why he disappeared.
Okay.
The ending is very weird. The ending, I've seen this on Letterboxd, it's gonna make or break the movie for some people. I liked it. I had some problems with it, but just, like, it's wild. It's gross. Like, it is absolutely, like, relentless in the violence. Like,
wow.
Yeah, so if you're looking for, like, a gnarly revenge movie where Neil Maskell's performance is absolutely unhinged. It is so good, but really scary. Like, I was very scared of him watching this movie. Like, there's a particular scene that involves a carnival and, like, a teacup ride where he is scream laughing and something else is happening around him, and it is, like, the most, like, one of the scariest things I've seen in a movie all year. It was so unhinged. Like, it's just so uncomfortable. So...
See, I would have passed by this poster and not given it a second shot, because this poster...
The poster is shit.
Is dumb.
It looks so cheesy. It's not. Like, the poster looks so cheesy. It's
and
not.
And his gun with, like, a flame.
I know.
Like, I'm like, what is going on here? And he's giving, like, his...
I know. Like, so...
That's not it.
Like... Megan Navarro put this on Bloody Disgusting's list, and I was curious, and, like, I'm reading everyone's list because I just want to fucking know what everyone watched this year. And I kept hearing about Bull, but seeing it on the list, I was like, all right, I should probably make the time to check this out. It's a revenge movie. We all know how I feel about those. And, yeah, it's, incredibly well done.
Okay.
It's nauseating, but... If you just want, like, working class British people beating the shit out of each other, Bull.
Who doesn't?
Very specific genre, but there's quite a few movies in that genre, I will say. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But,
I'll add that to my list.
Yeah, so I again, that was another one for... potentially being on the top 10. It's not on my top 10, but it was, like, a very impressive experience, I guess, is how I will describe it. But now we're going to talking of slashers, speaking of slashers, we are moving on to the sixth entry in the Child's Play franchise with Curse of Chucky. I keep getting Curse and Cult of Chucky fucking mixed up. This is 2013's Curse of Chucky, starring Fiona Dourif. Damn.
So, okay, so... I gotta know, because, like, you did text me, and I'm curious. What did you think of this one?
So once again, we're fucking just doing a hard turn into another, like, stratosphere, because we are back to slasher territory, and it's a fucking gothic slasher movie in an incredible giant house with a weird gothic elevator and a lot of candelabras and Fiona Dourif in a white nightgown and a wheelchair. Oh my god, straight out of a fucking Bronte novel, I swear to god.
Right?
If Charlotte Bronte was a writer now, I bet she would write this movie. I hope I don't get haunted for saying that, but
I mean, could you imagine? I would love to be haunted by Charlotte Bronte. That's
maybe like for a little bit, but it might get like really like I like Bleak, but it might get like a little bit like it might get a little much, and that's saying something for me. But I have questions about this movie.
Okay.
Just so what we have here is an incredible setup where Chucky is back, shocking, and is mailed to the home of a woman named Nika, played by Fiona Dourif, who is in a wheelchair, and her mother. And in the box is a Chucky doll.
It is, but it doesn't look like the Chucky doll from
No, he is clean.
From the last ones. He
has no scars. For he is clean. What is happening?
What is happening?
So much is happening. How do I even begin to explain? So her mom dies. Her crazy sister, who loves Jesus, moves in. The little girl finds Chucky, and all hell breaks loose over like one night. It's a slasher in one. It's a single location slasher movie, and it's fucking incredible. Like, we have gone from this kind of two campy Chucky movies where Chucky is like a wise cracking little asshole that you're like, it's like campy, funny, which I love. But then they're like, we're going right back into slasher territory. We're gonna go full gothic, single location, weird haunted house vibe slasher. And Fiona Dourif is gonna play the daughter of Charles Lee Ray?
Well,
right?
No, not daughter, but he wants her to be his daughter.
Yes. Okay. I thought that was where
her father drowns, but I'm pretty sure Charles Lee Ray killed him.
Yes.
And then kidnapped his wife while she was pregnant with Nika, and wants to be a little family.
But then performs a botched C-section, which results in Nika's paralysis.
Yeah.
What? Like, the notes, Terry? I need to send you a screenshot. I was losing my fucking mind. Like... But I think what I love about this is that's so batshit, but it commits to the full batshit. Like, it doesn't...
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I'm sorry, it's a black and white flashback with the yellow of the sunflowers in the fucking scary-ass room where he has her trapped. Like, Don Mancini, you're a genius. Like, who does that? It's so good. It's so ridiculous.
And then manages to, like, stuff this story as a prequel to the original Child's Play movie.
What? But then, okay, so my big question here is, like, okay, obviously at the end we have, like, Jennifer Tilly, Tiffany as Jennifer Tilly, who has obviously bleached her hair back and is now no longer trying to be... Well, we don't know what's happening here, but it's Tiffany as Jennifer Tilly slits a guy's throat and is now mailing Chucky places. But then how did she factor into the relationship with Nika's mom? Like, did he was like, did they not know about each other? Is this addressed in the next movie? I have a lot of questions about how these relationships interconnect. Or am I overthinking the 6th installment of a franchise about a killer doll? I don't know. Who's to say?
Who's to say? I don't think that ever gets addressed. It's a good question.
I was like, wait, where does Tiffany come in? Because he didn't want kids with her. But he's saying he's a family man. So
I don't think that ever gets addressed. I'll be honest. Plot hole.
How dare there be a plot hole in the slasher movie about a killer doll? I just had so many... That with the introduction of that whole thing, I was like, wait. I need more lore here now.
What I love is that this was like initially like presented as a remake, sort of, and they were like trying to focus on it as not being a sequel.
Oh.
And I wonder if that's like a bit of subterfuge, because by the end of it, we get it's all connected and it's bringing things forward.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell that like the budget wasn't as big.
Oh, hold on a second. Can you see me?
I can now, yeah.
Okay, sorry. My computer's in the weird. See, that's true because I think the puppet for Chucky at some parts is like a little janky looking. Like there's a part specifically where the nanny is electrocuted and it looks like someone has his like their hand in his mouth like Kermit the Frog. And I'm like, ooh, that's not great. And there's a couple like CGI blood moments that seemed like kind blood.
Never a fan.
But
and the dinner table scene goes on forever. Where they're trying to build like the drama of like who's been poisoned, but it's just like a bunch of people going.
I know, just eating chili
and staring at each other,
and like everyone has a reaction that like it's so like it felt very like Agatha Christie riff too though. It was so fucking funny. I also just watched Glass Onion, so I was laughing at the vibe that it gave from that. But oh god, it. I love this like twist back to something completely different. And I also love how it's gay again. It's gay again with the with our incredible like dad flirting with the nanny and getting that like over the top like they're obviously fucking, and then it's the overly religious mom and the nanny, and then the webcam death when they're like Skyping each other from like the other bedroom while her husband is in bed with her, and she sees the wife sees Chucky pop up in the background. I was like, second screen horror.
I was wondering. I was waiting for that.
And then
and she's just like,
And then we find out that he put a nanny cam in it, and then he made the live stream of Chucky, and I'm like, Chucky cam! I want the found footage movie where it's the first person POV of Chucky!
Taking killer POV to the next level.
Oh my god. Don Mancini, call me.
Yeah. And there's a lot of endings to this movie.
Yeah, you think? I was like, okay, cool. So this is the end. I saw there's 10 minutes left. So I'm like, the credits can't be that long, can they? No.
Yeah, I did love that when Tiff pops up at the back, or Jennifer, she's like, it's always so easy, because that's how she got the Chucky doll back in Bride of Chucky, was luring a cop to his death, and then she does it again. Love that moment.
God, she's so good. I love that when they reveal her in that sting, they like cut to like the credit and Jennifer Tilly as Tiffany Valentine. Like they're obviously they were hiding it in the opening credits, and then there's something at the end too that reveals another person you wouldn't have expected. Alex, what the fuck is his last name?
Vincent, I think, isn't it?
Alex Vincent, who plays the original Andy.
Andy, he's back. The very end.
I know. So, I think I also liked, but what I did really like though is so Nika's in a wheelchair this entire movie, and I love that we finally have a disabled final girl, and how, obviously there's issues with having an able-bodied person in a wheelchair portraying someone that needs a wheelchair. But I still think there's some interesting things used with that, and not trying to make her like as a victim. And I think I really liked how they used her disability to build tension, but not in a way that made her like a victim. Which I was actually really surprised about. Again, and it seems a little bit like actually pretty like anti-ableist in terms of how like Nika's sister wants to put her in a disability home because she doesn't want to care for her, and Nika's like, I'm fine. Like, I'm getting around just fine. And her sister just doesn't want to deal with her. So there's a lot of, like, interesting kind of pokes at ableism and how people treat disabled or, like, not able-bodied people. And I was pretty impressed. I was like, Don Mancini really doing what he can with his movies. So I'm excited to watch Cult of Chucky and see more Fiona Dourif in these movies because she's really hot. The end.
She is really hot. She's really hot. So I agree. It is sad that we don't have a disabled person playing a person that isn't able to walk. But I do think there is a reason for that, as we will see in the next movie.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Sounds good.
A little bit of a little stinger there for you.
Little teaser. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think so far of like all 6 of these movies?
Sorry, I'm gonna cut this out. But I just got a really annoying family text message. Anyway, what do I? Can you ask me that question one more time?
So what do you think about these movies now that we're like 6 episodes into 7 movies?
I'm obsessed. I love Child's Play. Like, one of the most consistently fun franchises I've ever watched. And, like, this is, like, we're on the 6th one. Like, it's not small. Mm-mm. And I've been so impressed. Like, really the only kind of stinker was Child's Play 3 for me. Mm-hmm. And, like, that was still kind of fun. But
it had its moments.
I just am so impressed with all of these movies and how it really... Like, Mancini isn't scared to do a full tonal shift because he's so... It's his baby, so, like, he knows the character and, like, the core lore so well that no matter what direction he takes it, it's still, like, always Chucky. I think because it's always Don Mancini, too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not being handed off and shifted to a bunch of different people... That's not trying to shade anyone who's ever written, like, for a franchise. Right. But, like, I think having him be that consistent voice through all of it is what makes it so incredible. Yeah. Because he cares, like, because he's so in it.
Yeah.
So,
I'm really excited to introduce you to Cult. And then I'm honestly really excited to go into the television series. Because
I know,
you talk about batshit. There is some moments in here that I cannot wait to talk to you about that I've seen, because I have not watched all of season 2, and once we started doing this, I was like, I'm gonna put a pause in it and I'll watch it once we're caught up. But boy, talk about a series that is able to reinvent itself constantly while respecting everything that came before, which is wild to me.
That's so wild. Fuck yeah. I'm so glad I'm on the Chucky train.
Woo woo.
Woo woo. Or whatever.
And I'm your friend in the end.
Brad Dourif is so hot in this movie. I hate myself, but he's just so hot. I have a problem. So anyway.
Oh, just wait until we have Fiona Dourif playing her dad.
I don't want to talk about it because I've already seen pictures. And I'm like, I need to go to prison. So we're watching Cult of Chucky next week, but then what's our episode on Monday? It's a little bit different.
Yeah, our Monday episode is we are counting down the top 10 of the year. We're talking about festival favorites to keep an eye on. We're talking about some maybe our favorite moments from the year. It's just gonna be a whole year of 2022 celebration / good riddance in some ways as we look forward to 23.
Oh, sorry. Please listen. I spent too goddamn long putting together these lists because I watched so many good movies this year. So listen to the fruits of our agonizing labor. But listeners, you've heard from us. We want to hear from you. Did you watch something that we watched this week and have thoughts? Do you have suggestions for things for us to cover on the pod? You can let us know by sending us an email at scarredforlifepodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach out to us directly on Twitter. I am at MB McAndrews.
And I'm a Gaily Dreadful.
And of course, don't forget to follow the podcast on Twitter at Scarred Podcast.
Please don't forget to review, rate, subscribe on iTunes and Spotify and wherever you're able to do that on. And sign up for Patreon. We're starting a whole new year. This will be our first full year of doing Patreon. And we're starting off with The Orphanage, which is a movie that fucked me up as a young adult. And you'll get to hear about that if you sign up.
Yay! And you get to watch us be silly for little cuts.
Yeah.
It's a treat, I promise you. So you could see those really cute faces making cute faces at you, asking you to become a picture.
Or the dinner scene
anyway.
where it was just quiet, and if you're listening to us in the podcast, you'd be like, this is just dead air. It's us doing things.
Yeah, it's us doing things. It's not just like... I cut a lot of dead air when we edit. Anyway, thanks thanks to Eric Power for our artwork. Thank you to Sean Keller for our music. Thank you everyone for listening. Please stay safe out there, but most importantly, stay creepy.
And we hope you guys all had a good holiday and Happy New Year.
Yeah.
But until next year.
Oh.